Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Apologetically Me. I'm Maggie.
I'm Wanda.
And we're here with what is it like to start a new job? What do you do? What are the do's and don'ts? But before we get started, Wanda, tell the people what you got going on.
So, my update this week is not really my update, but is more of an update for my partner, Jordan. He came down with COVID. And this was during the Thanksgiving weekend. So, Friday, he was like, I feel like I have a tickle in my throat, but it might just be because I've been meetings all day and it's probably fine. At which point I said, hey, I think you should stay home and not go visit your entire family this weekend at the cottage. And he's like, no, it should be okay. It's fine. I said this 3 times. Anyways, fast forward, he goes. He's feeling worse and worse by the day, but still not testing positive until the Sunday, at which point he tests a strong positive on the rapid test. Fortunately, everyone else at that time was still testing negative. Then Wednesday rolls around and his brother texts him being like, oh, I just tested positive for COVID. So he basically was patient zero, has given at least his brother COVID. And, like that was kind of like almost for the better in a way, because I'm only saying this because he's doing pretty well. Like he's not as sick as Jordan is, but he needed to be humbled. Like COVID needed to humble him. He was getting a little bit too cocky, so it came at a good time.
That's good. I remember you mentioned Jordan's mom saying she never wants to get COVID again.
Yeah. She kind of like, because I did ask him to talk to her, like, hey, like, should Jordan come kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing. And she was like, oh, it should be fine and everything. So we're like, well, okay. Um, she has been okay. She has
That's good.
not been testing positive. She hasn't really felt anything. So that's always good. Jordan's kind of the same way. He's like, if I didn't get vaccinated, I'm pretty sure I would have died.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Vaccines work, people. Hope Jordan feels better soon. Get well soon, Jordan. I know you won't listen to this, but get well soon.
okay. What's your update this week?
My update is that I am sick, but not with COVID. I took a negative COVID test. Um,
Yeah, a test that could definitely come out as negative.
yes. It was a negative only, no positives allowed. Yeah, so I took a COVID test. It was negative because I was like, oh my God. And I was listening all my symptoms to Wanda, and Wanda was like, that's pretty consistent with what Jordan had. And I was like, fuck me, I can't get COVID again. Yeah, I think it's just a really bad cold or like onset flu. I don't know what it is, but I am pretty sure I got it from this children's arcade called Claw and Kitty in Markham because there was a million kids running around. You're all playing like slots machines or like those arcade claw kitty claw machines thing where you grab a plushie. Oh, side note, sorry to the podcast listeners, you can't see what I won, but I won a bubble tea. It's pretty
Oh,
cute.
cute. How much did you spend on that?
Don't ask. You don't want to know. It's an obscene amount of money, but it was for a birthday. We will not be going back. Um, but yeah, I think it was just like all those kids. And then after I got sick, it's just like everyone decided to come out and say that their kids were sick too. Like Nick's cousins are sick. One of them's in high school, one of them's in university. My nephews are both sick. Everyone on TikTok seems to be sick. I was just telling Juana that there was a TikTok that was like, who the fuck gave everyone in Ontario this deadly cold? And people were like listing all the symptoms that I had, like stuffy nose, kind of a fever, like plugged ears, runny nose, that kind of thing. And then my boyfriend Nick, was like, oh, I'm pretty sure it's just seasonal allergies. And I was like, are you trying to gaslight me right now? This is what happened last time when you said it was seasonal allergies and I had COVID.
Why does he always think it's seasonal allergies?
I don't know. I think he just wants me to feel better because we're supposed to go up to his dad this weekend. And I was like, ooh, if I'm sick, I don't really want to go. And even if I get better, I don't really want to go.
Sad.
Because I spent the whole week sick. I want to catch up.
hmm And I mean, like, you've been pretty busy, like, every single week so far,
I
or like
just
every
want to
single
chill.
weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty much. So yeah, so he really wants us to be good so that we can have Thanksgiving dinner with his father this weekend. So
Children of divorce.
yep, got 2 Thanksgivings. Simply put, I cannot put on this weight, guys. Stop inviting me to your Thanksgiving dinners.
Truly. I think it's okay once, but having to do it twice seems like a lot of work.
Yeah, that's why my Asian family does not celebrate Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's why we don't celebrate Christmas either.
Oh, yeah, that too. Okay, so what's your beef or crush of the week?
So my crush of the week is the book The World's Worst Assistant by Sonia
Movsesian.
Okay, thank you. She is Conan's assistant, and I heard about her book, I think, through a clip somewhere of her talking about it on the podcast that she has with Conan. And I basically thought nothing of it really. I thought it might be interesting because, like, again, like if you work for Conan, I feel like you have some juicy deets that you can spill. And like as a byproduct, I feel like you're just funny by association. So I was like, okay, cool. Like this should be something like interesting for me to listen to. And the book was like surprisingly good. Like there was a lot of tidbits about like her life that I didn't really know, and a lot of tidbits about like Conan's life. And she also does a little bit of like spilling of celebrity secrets, which is kind of nice. Like she names people by name, which is always good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like there's a lot of like life advice, I guess, woven into her book that is like really good, like life advice. And like it was very surprising because I wasn't really expecting something like that. I was kind of just expecting like a ha comedy type story, but like go read it. It's very good. Actually, go listen to the audiobook.
Yeah,
It's
I
even
think,
better.
Yeah, I think the audiobook by like famous or like somewhat famous people really give it that like razzle dazzle.
Mm-hmm. You really have to listen to how they meant for it to be read, I guess.
Yeah. I really, yeah, like you said, I really appreciated the whole parts where she sprinkled in life advice because I thought it was gonna be mostly her saying like, "Oh, look at me, I'm so lazy. I know all of you want this job, but I do nothing, and you will never get this job." So that was like pretty nice that she like. I think she's selling herself a little bit short. Like I'm sure she does a lot more than she lets on, but I think it's like her whole shtick.
Yeah. I mean, it's like for the comedy, right?
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to hear about how you're like such an overachiever and you're doing so well and like you're so perfect and everything, you know?
Yeah. I think it really like ties into today's episode too. But like we'll get into that.
Yeah, truly. As a side crush, and I have to bring this up for some reason, but there's this audiobook narrator. Her name's like Julia Wayland, and she does such an attractive like man voice that I am absolutely like in love with the person that is in my head when she has like her man voice on in books. Like she narrates like all of the Emily Henry books, and she does such a good like guy voice. I need all of you to go find a clip of it, go listen to it, and tell me that is not super attractive.
Okay. I will do that.
Okay, thank you.
Nice.
Okay, that's it. What is your beef or crush of the week?
I don't really have any beefs or crush. I think beef was like the Libby app, but also maybe me because like we share a Libby account and sometimes like I can't tell or like I kept pushing like the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo on you and then I searched up the audiobook because I was like I want to listen to it this time and then like I put it on hold and I was like Wanda, why isn't this already on hold? I thought you were gonna get this and then you were like but I did and then it shows that you had it on hold and I was like but how was I able to put it on hold? We have the same account. So that's where I was like dang it, Wanda's not listening to my book recommendations. And then I thought I had put the World's Worst Assistant on hold. And then I was like, what the heck? Wanda's took my book. And then I was like, wait, maybe I didn't. Because I remember saying to someone that I couldn't find it anywhere. So I think I think the Libby app is my beef. Um,
It also provides you books for free though, so
so like not that much of a beef because it's still good, but also like I have a Kindle. Like I don't know why I'm not using that. I don't know why I'm waiting. So my own, I have my own beefs to deal with. I have my own problems.
I like I mean, I only use it because I listen to audiobooks like exclusively. I don't read. So like that's why I wait. I don't know why you wait.
I don't know why either because I read.
Yeah, it's
I got issues.
yeah, kind of.
Yeah. My Kindle is right here. Handy dandy Kindle. Love it. Airplane mode lasts forever. Um, my side crush is this comedian named Matt Rife. He's kind of in his younger days, he was a little bit icky, and he also dated Kate Beckinsale, but he's a comedian. And I've been watching a lot of his TikTok clips, and he seems like so charismatic. And oh, don't Google him; he's not that attractive looking. But it's like his whole like on stage like appearance that I was like, he's kind of good looking, but he's like kind of too cocky. I'll send you some clips, Wanda, so you can see what I'm talking about. But he
Okay.
dated Kate Beckinsale when he was 21 and she was like 46, so that was a little bit weird. Um, what else about it? Oh, he was on Wild and Out. I think that Nick Cannon show. There's this clip where he's like trying to make Zendaya laugh and like, I don't know if any Wild and Out fans have seen it, but it's like he's trying to make her laugh and he like puts his hand on her and he's like, Zendaya, you're half black and I want to be black, so like let's get together and make some beautiful babies. And I was like, ew. And then her teammates like jumped up and came to her defense, and they were like, ew, you can't touch her like that. She's underage. Like you're gonna get your like pimply fingers all over her. So yucky. But that was when he was young, and now he's older. So I'm hoping he has truly matured. But he handles hecklers like really well, and I think that's in right now. Because if you have seen, there's that comedian who handled that heckler very well when someone threw a beer can on stage or tried to throw it at her. She handled it very well. Anyways, that's my long-winded beef / crush. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
He has an interesting bone structure that would make him probably like very model-esque. It's the very like Timothy Chalamet cut jawline sitch. But
Other than that, I know what you mean. His face is not all there.
I mean, I guess that's kind of in right now though.
Yeah, I guess so. He has really nice arms.
This is the whole thing where it's like if you have a nice body, it's pretty hard for you to be ugly.
Yeah. Nice arms. Funny. My weak spots.
The bar is low,
The
ladies.
bar is low. JK, Nick, JK. Moving on to today's episode. What is it like to be at your new job? Do's and don'ts. We actually both started like a new job not too long ago. When did you start again?
September, the first week of September after Labor Day.
Nice. I started about 1 week before you, I think. Yeah, but to like 2 weeks before you, something like that. How did you feel starting off at a new job? Walk me through your emotions of the first week if you remember them.
So I guess like our onboarding process for the company I'm currently at is like first week you kind of just like walk around, like not literally, but like walk around like the digital space and like look at all the documents, look at all the tools, just kind of play around, get to know everything, set your stuff up. Um, because it is a games company, there was the added bonus of, hey, just play these 2 games. And then the second week was like, oh, this is the meeting people week. This is when we're going to start getting you in a bit more meetings and stuff like that. So it was very like a very slow onboarding process. And like, I didn't mind that because I was kind of like in a grind period. Okay. This isn't the best thing to say, but like I had 2 papers due very soon after. I think it would have been my second week of work. So I spent most of my days stressed out, or not stressed, but like working on those and not really working on work. So like I can't even tell you was like what I felt during those times because it was very much like I was so focused on my papers that I couldn't I don't like work kind of took a back burner at the beginning. And like there wasn't really much to do. So it wasn't like there weren't a lot of expectations at the beginning. So it was very easy and chill. What I do remember though is like having like my first one-on-ones with like people on my team and stuff, and it being like, oh, like I'm kind of nervous, because it's like I'm meeting them for the first time. Like I hope I set a good impression. I always like hate when you just don't vibe, and like the conversation's so awkward. You start talking about the weather and it's like nonstop, like small talk. And I'm like, I just don't want that. So I always go in with like a little feeling of pressure, like meeting team members for the first time, but it actually went like really well. Everyone's super, super chatty, which I think really helped. So it's like, even if I didn't talk a lot, like they would talk a lot.
The worst is when you're booked for one-on-one and they have nothing to say to you, and then you're like, well, I guess we'll cut this 30-minute meeting short. It was only 30 minutes, guys. Why couldn't you think of something to say?
Yeah, legit. Like that was kind of like my fear, but like both of my one-on-ones ended up going way longer than like the hour mark. Like I
Oh.
think they were booked in for 30 minutes, and like one went for like an hour and a half, and I had to book a follow-up one-on-one, and then like another one went for like an hour and 15 minutes, and like we only had to leave because like we like had other meetings that we had to get to. But like
Oh.
again, like don't feel obligated to have like a super long conversation, and like
Mhm.
don't feel obligated to, I guess, exclusively talk about work in those like initial one-on-ones, because it's like they want to get to know you, you want to get to know them, and like if you just right off the bat like start talking about work, they might be like, ooh, like who are you as a person? Like I don't really know you.
Yeah, that is what I am currently struggling with, actually.
Oh, okay, go on.
Only because I feel like when I'm the new person, like right off the bat, I'm not like very extroverted, I think. I think like it depends on people's like vibe, I guess. Like if they're chatty, then I'll be like chatty right back to them. But if
Mhm.
they're like not giving me anything, then I'll like match the same thing. So I think a lot of people are like also like right off the bat, they're not going to be super chatty with a new person. So because of that, I'll be like kind of shy, like I won't really contribute much to the conversation at whole. So, yeah, so I feel like when I talk to people, I'm like, ugh, we're not really, not that we're not vibing, but I'm like, how do I get you to know me on a personal level so that you'll give me more projects or you'll put me in on fun stuff? Um, and I think making professional networks is truly the hardest part of any job.
It Yeah, it truly is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like sometimes it just doesn't happen. Like
Yeah.
you just can't force it at times. Like if they're not giving you anything and you've really tried more than once, uh, there's no like it just might be a dead horse. They might just be there to collect the paycheck and go home.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is a very valid point. You shouldn't force it. If you should just let it happen organically. But one thing that I do want to force is my interactions with my manager, because I don't know about you guys, but I am very intimidated by my manager and I want her to love me. I want her to fear how much she loves me and give me all the cool tasks and that we can have a really open relationship. Um, I've had like managers in the past who have been like, who they have been like way too open with me. And because of that, like I feel like our professional relationship kind of suffered. Like they didn't really trust, not that they didn't trust me, but I just felt like I couldn't like go to them with professional advice because I just like didn't trust their judgment anymore. I shouldn't say it like that, but it was like they didn't have a clear work-life balance. So for example, like I would be like, oh, like this VP booked me for a 6 p.m. meeting. What do I do? And my manager was like, you should go to it. And I was like, what the fuck? No, I don't want to go to it. So at the end of the day, I did not go to it. I was like, I'm going to set a clear boundary. I'm not doing this. And then the VP canceled the meeting anyways. So to each their own. That just wasn't my personal thing. And then I've had managers in the past who have been like, they didn't really know what they were doing, so it's hard to go to them for guidance. But my new manager seems like everyone goes to her. She is literally the go-to person. Everyone is like loves her so much, and I'm like, I am scared so much of you. I want to love you, and I want you to love me. Do you love your manager? Does your manager love you?
I don't know if she loves me, but I mean, I like her quite a bit. I feel like we have good interactions. I feel like she's very she is scary in the sense that of how much she knows. Like she just says things and I'm like, holy shit, like that's such a good way of crafting that narrative, or like that's such a good question to question or thought to bring up to get the juices flowing and everything. And it's like once she says it, I'm like, oh my god, that's exactly right. And but it's like, why didn't I think of that?
Mm,
It's like, how does she have this much knowledge and know-how in her brain? And it's like, how do I get there?
I guess years of experience too.
It truly is, but it's just just seeing it though, it's just
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Yeah.
um I guess kind of the good thing is she's very good at setting boundaries. um so I work in PST time, and everyone thinks that I get off at 5 p.m. EST time, which is their 2 p.m. So she's always like, "Oh, is that outside of your working time? Make sure you don't book Wanda outside of 5 p.m. or something." And it's just it's kind of funny because it's I don't really stop working at 5 p.m. because I start work a lot later than she thinks I do. But she's very much don't work overtime. I'm if it's outside of your working hours, don't worry, there's absolutely no obligation for you to attend this. I understand completely.
Oh,
So she's very good at making sure that, for one, I'm not overworked, and for two, if it is, or she's just very mindful of time zones and everything.
that's
Yeah,
very sweet. That's good.
I think it might be just a company culture thing. I think it's very unfortunate that I think your last job just kind of had that issue.
Yeah, like my not my previous one, but the one before that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this one seems pretty great. Like, uh, yeah, I've had no complaints about the company culture. I don't like that people reply to my emails at 7 p.m., but they put in their boilerplate of their email, my working hours may not reflect yours. Please don't feel the need to reply to me at this time. So I think that's very nice.
Yeah. And I mean, that might just be because they took some time off during the day to
Hmm.
do something. So they're working, so they're making up that time, quote unquote, later
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
afternoon and stuff. So it's yeah, I like that. I'm glad they
Hmm.
say that, because I feel if maybe they didn't have that, people would maybe feel obligated to reply to it. How was
Okay.
your first few weeks?
Um, it was a roller coaster. I think I joined and it was very, very slow. And I kept being put me on projects, put me in coach. You could go through so much training with someone, but it's still in one ear, out the other kind of thing, and you won't know until you do it. And I'm very much a do person. But it took a while for me to get put on my first projects. And that was only because I had to go out and look for it. So my manager, my whole team was at a conference, and it was they all had to be hands on deck in Vancouver, and then yeah, everyone was gone. Then it was just me and one other guy in the office. So yeah, so I was just what am I supposed to do here? And I met with someone who previously held my role, and they were like, "Oh, your manager really likes it when you take initiative and go outside and do things." So then that kind of got in my head, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I have to go find the initiative. I don't even know what I know. I don't know what I'm doing right now. How am I supposed to take the initiative?" But someone else said to me, your manager will only know as much as you tell her. She can't read your mind. So if you have any questions, don't, you're gonna look stupid if you don't say anything. So it's very conflicting messages, but I think the best advice I would give myself is be you. Don't overthink it, and don't feel pressure to try to look cool, because at the end of the day, you're trying to do your job. No one's going to blame you.
So is it did you end up finding a initiative outside of what your team does, or
Um no, so I found an initiative where it's it was just my own thing to write. So my role is in communications. So I did Yeah, so like I kind of scoped that, but it was still like within my role, I think. And now I have like a lot of projects coming up, and that's all because my manager has like assigned them to me and like give it like put me on this project, which I'm very grateful for. So I'm like the communications lead for it. But I'm also like, ooh, was that bad that I'm like waiting for her to assign it to me? But like, how else would I get projects, right?
Yeah, I that is
It's a
yeah,
catch 22.
I feel like you're still too new to be able to know what's going on and
Yeah.
stuff. And like even in your current role, you just don't have the visibility of what they want done and everything. Like I
Yeah.
personally don't feel like you should be out looking for like prowling for projects to
Mm-hmm.
like work on, because it's like you don't know what your manager has planned for you already. So you might commit yourself to something and then your manager's like, "Oh shit, like I needed your capacity to work on something else," right? So I guess it's like don't commit to anything until you talk to your manager about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I never know if I'm doing enough or not doing enough because I'm only on like 3 month probation right now. So I'm like, will I pass my probation period? I don't know.
I mean, like sorry if you don't, but I'm pretty sure you will. Most people do pass their probationary period. It's pretty hard to not pass your probationary
Yeah, I'm
period.
terrified because like the week they were gone, I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm doing basically nothing right now.
And I think that's okay. I think there's always going to be like ebbs and flows of like work. Like some weeks you're going to
Yeah.
be really busy and then other weeks you're not going to be. I think it's okay. And or at least that's what they keep telling me.
Oh, okay. I hope so too.
Because I feel the same way. I always feel like I'm like I maybe it's because like school, you know, like school has trained you so much in the way of like you should always be doing assignments or like looking for like extracurriculars so that you're
Mm-hmm.
always like kind of busy and stuff. But it's like I don't know, maybe a little bit different at work. So it's a different shift, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know about you, but like now that I'm not like super new in my career anymore, where I'm getting to the point where I'm becoming experienced. I'm like, now I don't need to be super ambitious and like and really like fire starter in the beginning. Now I'm just like I take my time, I do my own thing. I don't want to say the bare minimum, but it's like kind of those things at the beginning and then like I'll ramp up when I need to. I don't want to burn myself out yet. Do you feel that way
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that like it's not because like I'm not no longer like trying to be ambitious or like I think it's just like knowing more work-life balance.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was like a really big wake up call from my previous role because I was like starting off like so ambitious, like so happy to be there, and then like whenever something bad would happen, I would like really let it get to me, and then like 6 months into the job, and I was like, man, I hate it here. So now I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna play it cool.
Yeah. It's I think it's like it's okay. Like I think it's like take the time that you need for yourself. Like in the end, like your job is just a job.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's what you make it. It's what you spend 8 hours of your day doing. So it's like you might as well
Might as well like it. No, you
yeah.
don't have to like it, but like don't hate it.
Yeah. You might as that's kind of it. It's like as long as you don't hate it, I think you're okay.
Yeah, I agree too.
Yeah, because not everyone's gonna find it. This is what I always keep telling people. Like, it's very hard to find a job that you're gonna love.
I
Like,
think it's
very rare.
like why people in their 20s have such like a difficult time like settling into maybe like their jobs or like just settling into life in general because they're like, holy shit, I'm not supposed to love my job.
Yeah, I think you kind of like grow up though in the way
Hmm.
of like, oh, what is the job that best fits you, you know? And so it's like when you get trained in that mentality, and then you grow up, and then you're like, wait a second, like I don't love this,
Hmm. And
and then
Sona talked about that in her book too.
what are her wise words of wisdom?
Oh, how she started off like as a assistant, and then she was like, "I'm gonna work my way up. I'm gonna be production management. Like, I'm gonna make it into the TV industry and be on TV." And then each year passed, and she was like, "I am comfortable. I am okay with this. Like, I don't hate this. This is a great gig."
He has a
pays the
great gig.
bills. She has a really great gig.
How do you feel, I guess, now? Like you're kind of like over a month in. How do you feel now compared to when you first started?
um, I feel more scared for some reason. I know
Oh.
I should be more comfortable, but like there's still people on the team who I have not had one-on-ones with, and I think I waited too long because they were all busy. And now that they're like less busy, I'm like, ooh, now I'm too shy to have a one-on-one with you because now I feel like I kind of know you, but I also don't know you, and am I wasting more of your time by having this one-on-one? But I don't know why I'm scared.
Just said it.
Yeah, why don't I do that? I don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm just so scared. I think it's like the whole 3 month probation thing where I'm like, oh my god, I'm not gonna pass probation. Everyone hates me. Another thing too is like I want to make work friends, and that is very difficult when you're kind of hybrid.
Mhm.
And for you, officially remote, how do you make work
Mhm.
friends?
Talk to people on Slack, I guess. It's like it's hard though because it's like I'm never going to be able to like just go grab a coffee with this person or like
Mhm.
grab lunch with these people. So it's like you really have to make the most out of like asynchronous communication and also like have these like one-on-ones like pure like so I have like monthly one-on-ones with like almost everyone on my team. And like I have like in those like we kind of just don't really talk about work. Like well, I don't know, gossip about work, but it's really just about like finding out more about like them as a person and like their lives and everything. And I think like those have been really helpful and just like staying connected with your team, especially because you're so like far apart from each other. Like and like I made this comment being like, oh, like I want more one-on-ones because like I'm just so lonely here, like being in a remote role, which like I do definitely prefer remote role over working in person. But then like the other person who is a senior on the team was also like, yeah, I am so lonely too. So it's like I
Oh,
really appreciate like having these one-on-ones and getting to talk to other people.
that's so
So
sweet. That's a
something
good
to
way of
keep in
putting it.
mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good thought.
Yeah.
Um,
So do it.
yeah, I don't see why not. What would you say are like big three don'ts of starting a new job?
Don't come in changing or like don't come in immediately wanting to change things. So like without even having to like without even getting to know the team, the processes, the company at all, you're like guns blazing, I want to change this, this and this and this because that's how my previous companies did it or something like that. Like never do that in my opinion because you're going to ruffle a lot of feathers. And that is one of the quickest ways to get fired.
Unless
Um
you're management.
No, even then, don't like so this actually happened at like Jordan's company, I'm pretty sure, where someone came in wanting to change a lot of things and they were quickly put in their place because uh they didn't really understand the processes and the infrastructure that had already been like put into place at his company at like this current company and why the things that he was suggesting wouldn't have worked or they
Hmm.
were he was suggesting things that had already been done or tried at the company and it didn't work but you would never know these things
Oh.
unless you had already like you were already familiar with some of the things of the company.
Hmm. That's actually I think that was a joke on Parks and Rec where you can tell when new management came in because like really major changes were happening. And then they
Yeah.
would quickly go back to their old ways because they would also be put in their place.
Yeah, and it's like even if your role is to like come in and change things, I don't think you it should be like right off the bat like this
Mm-hmm.
is like all the changes I'm going to make because it's like take some time, learn about the company and everything, learn about the people, learn about what's already been tried. Like it's going to save you a lot of like heartache in the end. But like after that time, you can start proposing changes and stuff and people are still going to be resistant to it, but at least you'll have some backing.
Yeah, that's good. What's another don't?
Yeah. Um don't be scared of trying new things. Um, put yourself out there, I guess. It's like even if it's something that you haven't done before. Like I feel like this is kind of the situation where I'm running into where I'm like, "Oh yeah, like I like all these things about my job, but then I have to go run like an independent study, like not independent, but I have to basically take lead on a study, which involves like things that I've never looked at before, things that I'm not really comfortable with yet. So I'm like a little bit like, ooh, like anxious about it. Like, oh, like, am I going to do a good job? Um, like how is everything going to go? Because it's like, it's not just like involving me, it's involving like a lot of other people too. So it's like, it's such a big impact thing for the company. What if it doesn't go well? So it's like, but I like have to do it. So it's not really me putting myself out there, but it's like something I have to do anyways. But it's mostly just trying to get over that mindset of uh, like it's too hard. It's something that I haven't done before. I'm too scared to do it and like trying to break out of that. So yeah, don't be scared to try new things.
It's a good one.
And my last one, I guess, is like don't hole yourself up. Um, if you're in a remote or hybrid situation, even if you're like not, like go talk periodically, talk to the people that you work with, make friends with people outside of your team. I have a coffee chat with a VP of the company that I am scared shitless for. But we'll see how it goes.
How did that even happen?
So we have this channel on Slack that randomly pairs you up. Like if you're in this channel, it's like a random coffee channel. And it just so happens that this week I got paired up with like the old what would you general manager, now like VP of product or something for like the company. So like all product game decisions go through him essentially. And it's just like, yeah, I didn't think it'd come so fast. Yeah. So talk to people in your team and talk to people outside of your team.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. What are your 3?
Man, I really like all the 3 you said, but I guess to like add on to your fear of that coffee chat is don't let titles trip you up. Just because someone is like a director or a VP or something, don't be afraid to like email them. I know like in a previous workplace, they were like very, I don't know if they put the fear of it in me, but like they reaffirmed people's titles a lot, where it made you like very like careful of emailing people, and like if you emailed them, then like you'd be kind of reprimanded. But like that's not how it should be at all. Like just because they're like a VP or like director or something, that doesn't mean you should be scared to even email them or like say hi to them or something. I literally saw like my VP turn a corner and I like hesitated and I literally stopped in my tracks and I was like, wait, why am I scared? And then I just walked forward and I was like, oh, hey, what's up? So yeah, don't let titles trip you up. But I think that's more at me because I have something with like people in authority where I'm scared of them. So don't be like me.
I think that's like very fair. I think a lot of people have that issue. I do want to add the caveat though, like make sure you like adjust your tone
Yes.
for when you're speaking to like emailing like a VP or something. Like don't be like, "Hey, what's up, bro?" Like
To be fair, I don't say that to anyone at my work.
So I joined a meeting today that was called Accessibility Bros. So
This still happens
yeah.
when you work with a company out west.
I think it's more of just like working in like a startup culture versus like a more rigid structure.
Yes. Yeah. Big time that. My number 2 is I guess adding on to like don't be scared of like trying new things, but don't be afraid to ask questions. I think asking questions is a huge thing because you don't know what you don't know. And literally ask as many questions as you can. That's how you're going to meet people. It's even like, even if you can't force someone to be your friend, you can still try to organically trick them into being your friend. And that's really how we do it here.
Jordan calls that manipulation.
And Jordan would not be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could just trick everyone into being my friend. I just want to be loved so badly.
Yeah, truly. Same here. I also want to add the caveat there where it's like, please use common sense though.
Yes.
Like some questions probably don't need to be asked
Yes.
if you just think about it.
I had this like audit job like back when I was a summer intern, and like the main thing you have to work on is something called a deal sheet, and they train you that like right on day one, like this like the holy bible, the deal sheet. And then like we had like 1 month left of our internship, and another intern asked, "What's a deal sheet?" And then the trainer was like, "Holy fuck." And then they like look into what he was doing and stuff, his like back end things, and they see he's just on Facebook the whole time or like studying for like his course, and he was fired. Like, and it's like very hard to fire an intern because you're only there for like 4 months. So don't ask too many dumb questions.
Yeah, I mean, he was so close.
I know there's only 1 month left, but like he's good now. Like he's working at a bank.
Damn, that is insane.
Yeah.
Like knowing what you know now about him, are you like, have you changed or are you the same guy?
I'm still judgmental. Like
Yeah.
I'm still judgmental of like any. Oh, it's all through like hearsay, like through the Vine thing, like people in my year, like who were on internship who got fired. Um, yeah, like you'd be surprised at how many people do not have common sense. Like someone was fired for like sexual harassment and stuff to another intern and like berating like a VP. And yeah, he was just like constantly like drunk all the time. So don't I mean, I don't want to make this one of my don'ts because it's like very like obvious. Like don't show up drunk and don't sexually harass your coworkers.
I mean, apparently commerce students need to hear that.
Yeah. Apparently it's not gone through enough during like your work training.
That is absolutely insane. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone being fired from an internship.
Stick around. You might hear more. Yeah, there's a quite a bit of interns from my program.
Yeah. Your program sounds great.
Yeah, I should stalk them actually.
Best of the best.
Yeah.
Where are they now?
Yeah. And did they actually get employed? Because it takes like a while to fire someone, especially when it's like sexual harassment claims or like showing up drunk and stuff. Like my friend worked at that same company as the guy who was sexually harassing his coworker, and apparently his manager, it took like the months to build up a case against him. So, and he only had, again, 2-3 months left of his internship, and it was a 16-month internship. He was so close.
Do use common sense.
Yes, please. That's my third don't. I frown upon workplace relationships, so don't date your coworkers.
I will actually second that comment. I think it gets messy. You can't, like, yes, it could lead to happily ever after, but also it could lead to you guys making out in a stairwell and getting caught and getting one of you gets fired. Or, I mean, like, sorry, best example, Try Guys.
Dating your employee when you're HR. Not so good. Or the breakup ends poorly and the guy ends up being a stalker or something, or like works in IT and like frames you for stuff.
I mean, like in the World's Worst Assistant, she kind of talks about this where she went on a date with one of her fellow interns because she thought it'd be awkward if she said no, but like she said no anyways because like he just wasn't really for her, I guess. And then he just like never really like associated with her again, and like nothing from him or his boss. So she basically lost out on like a lot of good experience because of this.
Damn. Yeah, don't date your coworkers, guys. Don't fuck your coworkers. Don't date them.
Yeah, just really like stay away from your coworkers in like an intimacy setting. Like you could be friends with them, but like don't take it any further than that.
Yeah. Like I do know happy stories about it, but I also know some really bad ones too. And I think it's just like not worth it. Not worth the 50-50.
Yeah, don't shit where you eat.
Can you repeat that? You glitched up.
Oh, sorry. Don't shit where you eat.
Yes. This can be said to many actors too, who end up dating their fellow other actors on movies.
See, I'm okay. I'm always like okay with that because it's such a short-lived like period of time
Okay,
that
not
like
movies, TV shows.
okay, yes, TV shows. I feel like ooh, the best example of this is the Vampire Diaries, where Nina Dobrev was dating Ian Somerhalder, small,
You were right
and
the first
they
time.
okay. I was like, I can see the last name in my head. But they were dating and they dated for a very long time, but then he wanted marriage and she was like, I don't want this. And then they broke up, and then you could really see how terribly their chemistry was in the later seasons after they broke up. So
Same
it
with
really
Gossip Girl. Same with I want to say Gilmore Girls, but I don't know.
which one did she date?
Jesse,
Which one was Jesse again?
the bad boy, Milo
Oh, okay.
Ventimiglia,
Okay.
whatever.
Anyways, off topic. um, is there anything that you wish that you had done in your first few weeks in starting a new job or even preparing for a new job, or you did and you thought was really helpful?
When I learn new systems, and I think I like to think of myself as a really fast learner. So like when I'm added to like Teams channels or like documents and stuff, I go through literally everything. I'm so nosy. I'll scroll up through chat histories and stuff, and I'll read what people were talking about. And I like thoroughly stalk like every single thing. Like if we're part of like a group or something, I will stalk it. So I think be thorough. Like you can never be too prepared. I think that has always gone a long way for me. What about you?
That is a good question, and I know I asked that question.
I mean, I think you're already doing it. Like joining the new thing where it's like that thing you're talking about where you get matched with like a new coworker or someone outside your team. I think that's pretty cool. Even like
Yeah.
one-on-ones. I haven't been doing that. You've been doing it.
I guess it's like a lot of things is like also like special shout out to people who like introduced me to them in the first place, where it's like, okay, I have this thing where like in my first 2 weeks I have like a different persona, like whether it's starting like a new school program or starting like a new work thing, where I'm like, I'm more willing to try new things, like I'm more willing to put myself out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then week 3 or 4 rolls around and I'm like, ooh, I wish I did not commit to this. I have many regrets. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yep. I am totally on board with that.
Yeah. It's like when you make plans when you're not like in a really good like mood and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I could do things. Like yeah. And then the like time rolls around and you're like, fuck. Like
Yep.
I don't want to do anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's so funny. That's very, very true. Don't commit early. Or maybe that is
Yeah.
the best time to commit
I
early.
think it might be because it's like there's a lot of times where it's like I commit to things and then okay, so like we went rock climbing for Sally, Jordan, and Nick's birthday. And like I just committed to it because I was like, you know what, like whatever, right? And then like the time rolled around and I was like, oh my God, I don't want to go to this. And I was like, I can't back out though, because it's like, what am I gonna do? Send Jordan alone for his birthday? Like so I was like, okay, like I'm gonna do it. And then I did it. I was like, this is actually like pretty fun. Like I actually really enjoyed doing it. So I don't
Yay.
know.
So yeah, that is the best thing. Commit early.
Yeah.
Get them
Commit
while they're
early.
hot and young.
Yeah. Ew. No, that's not the advice. Get them while they're fresh.
Oh, okay. Like that's any better than hot and young.
Young is like different. Like fresh is like, fresh out of the
Like
oven.
young in our plans.
Okay. I'm sure that's how people are going to take that sentence.
I sure hope so, or else I'll be going to jail soon.
Yeah, what's his name? Like Matt Rife?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like what, 20?
No, he's older than you.
Okay, good. Okay.
I don't go for people that young.
Any concluding remarks?
Be you. Don't try to be anyone else. Be the authentic you, and you will do just fine.
Unless you suck.
Unless you suck, that it wasn't a good fit.
Yeah. I mean, like, even then, it's like if no one likes you, it might just be the company. Maybe it's not you.
Yeah. But also, it might just be you. So,
It might just be you.
yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us for another episode. Go follow us on social media, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And go listen to us and like us wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And join us next Thursday for another episode of Apologetically Me. Bye.
Bye.